Thank you for tuning into this Contenders panel. For The Boys, we have creator, showrunner, executive producer Eric Kripke, and executive producers Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg. But before we get to the panelists, we're going to show a quick clip of the series.
The greatest superhero team the world's ever seen, the Seven.
Is there anything I can help you with?
I'm not gonna piss you about, Huey. I heard what happened to Robin. You ain't alone, son. Soups lose hundreds of people each year to collateral damage.
I can't stop.
Robin!
They were my business on the front page.
That's where I mean the boys are coming.
I never wanted to ever be over.
Spank the bastards when they get out alive.
Can you control her, please?
You need to unclench your asshole.
Why are you two carrying on like a bunch of fucking twins?
Who the fuck is this?
We got a fucking job to do.
I'm invincible, stupid motherfuckers.
I'm the world's greatest superhero. I can do whatever the fuck I want. We're on the verge of nailing these wankers.
I'm done.
Oi, what's Sporty Spice up to? Who? Sporty fucking Spice, what's she up to?
I don't know.
And baby, not even page 6 of the Daily Mail. You see, when they're apart, they're absolute fucking rubbish. But you put them together, they're the goddamn fucking Spice Girls. The point is, we need each other. We're fucking dead in the water.
Jesus, he gives the worst pep talks.
He really does.
I can't do this.
You just pulled the fucking trigger!
Sorry!
We're the Seven. Earth's most mighty motherfucker!
Please, no, please.
Pardon my French. Fuck those fuckers.
You know, you guys, the series of Boys is very much a different kind of comic book series we've seen before. But I guess this question goes to more, to Evan and Seth. Prior to the Boys, you adapted Preacher. What was it about these specific stories, the Boys and Preacher, that made you want to turn them into a series?
Very specifically in high school, Seth and I bonded over like a specific set of things: Pulp Fiction, Spaceballs, and then Garth Ennis comics largely. And we were obsessed with them. We read them as they came out. Preacher came out when we were in high school, and then The Boys came out kind of as that was wrapping up, moving into university. And it just really played into what formed our sensibilities. And it really just spoke to us because they were comics for adults, not for kids as much. And it just was, as we were becoming adults, nice to read something that was familiar to us, but took us to a place we kind of never been before with our imaginations as kids.
Yeah, exactly. I think especially like The Boys, like as people who grew up loving superheroes, it was fun to see something that was about superheroes, but just clearly for a much different audience than what most superhero things were, geared towards. And it wasn't, cynical. Like it was very much done out of, it's a superhero thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not trying to take that away. It just was trying to show it in a different light. And I think especially the characters and just the whole world was so exciting. And the idea of adapting it was exciting because also the comic is like super gross in a lot of ways that we toned down. And I remember honestly thinking mostly with the comic is that there's like a lot of potential there. Like it was something that was really, really great in a lot of ways. And we felt as though we had some ideas as to how it could be more, accessible to more people basically.
and also when it came out, was a very different time than now. And
yes,
when it came out, it probably wouldn't have made as good a show, but like the timing of just the world understanding superheroes via the Avengers and the Marvel universe and somewhat the DC universe, it just really like paved the path for people to like get this comic in a way that they otherwise might not.
And Eric, it's called The Boys, and there are certainly a lot of male characters at the forefront, but there are just as many, strong female characters at the forefront. But how did you want to position those female characters in order not to make it such a, boys club?
Yeah, I mean, that was, like the guys said, we wanted to make it more accessible, and we wanted kind of everybody to come into the tent and watch the show for as edgy as it is. And the comics are very male skewing, and I think a lot of the female characters don't quite have as much to do in the comic. And so we really just approached it from just basically, the mantra of the show has always been, how do we make it the most realistic superhero show we possibly can? And the truth is, there's a lot of women in positions of power in, 2019, 2020. And so we made the male Stillwell character from the comics a female Stillwell character played by, Lisa Shue. And then it was also about giving Starlight, she didn't really have nearly as much to do in the comic. She was sort of there to be a sounding board for Huey, and the idea of her becoming a really proactive warrior along, that can hold her own with any of the other superheroes or the boys. Same for that. Giving Kamiko a name in the comics, she's just the female, and you never really know much of anything about her. And so giving her a name and a backstory and things she cares about. It's just about, I mean, yes, we were consciously trying to make it, restore some equilibrium to it, but it's just character building, right? Like if you're just making a show about characters, you just got to flesh out all the characters.
Yeah. And, what do all of you think about, think The Boys brings to the comic book genre that helps further the use of, these heroes as a modern day version of serial storytelling?
I mean, I think it's much more adult. I mean, I think, like Eric says, it really approaches it realistically in a way that is not afraid to examine what would probably happen to the psyches of people who had unlimited powers, basically, And
the other comic book universe has really played wildly in the other direction, where like 99% of them are just great people who only make the right choices.
Yeah,
just so far from what would happen.
In general, the more power they have, the more affirmed they are in how right what they're doing is. And to us, what we talked a lot about when we were kind of putting the show together initially was like celebrity culture, and the idea that even in our world, people who don't have superpowers but have access and privileges that the average person doesn't have, like, take it from me, I know a lot of them / am one. Celebrities are insane, and if they could fly, then they would be 1,000 times worse, not better. You know what I mean? So, like,
that's true.
I don't think if DJ Khaled could fly, God save us all.
When we would go out and around and we first pitched the show, Seth would say, I always remember that Seth would say, he's like, it would be as if Iron Man is Robert Downey Jr.
It's actually him. Yeah. That's sold.
And I would add to that like this show. I mean, we were really lucky in its ability to kind of hit the zeitgeist. When Garth wrote the comic 10 years ago, 15 years ago, he was always interested in what would happen if you combine celebrity with politics, and how bad it would fuck over the regular guy. And that was a time when it was George W. was in the White House. And now when you look at the world we're living in and how celebrity and politics is so blurred, and these superheroes standing in is sort of like a representation of what happens when you combine the worst of celebrity and the worst of politics. What I love about the show is it's a superhero show and it's exciting and has all the fight scenes. But I think it really works as a satire of like the exact second we happen to be living in right now. And that's been a blast to write for.
Cool. Well, thank you guys so much. Thank you for joining us here on Contenders. Hope you guys are staying safe and surviving above all.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Peace.
Yeah.